Now let's talk about something really interesting, namely game plans or strategy. In backgammon, there's a distinction between strategy and tactics, where strategy refers to the long-term planning and tactics refers to the short-term maneuvering. So typically, tactical decisions are decisions where we use the dice combinations to maneuver in the game, while strategic decisions are more based on where to put our checkers so they are useful in the long run, and which type of move do we make. Essentially, we have 4 strategies or 4 game plans in backgammon, and a game plan is just a way of winning the game. All games of backgammon, without exception, is won with either one of these 4 game plans, or perhaps a combination. So the 4 game plans are priming, blitzing, racing, and if everything else fails, play for contact and try to hit a late turnaround shot. So priming, well, that's the game plan where you build a prime and you trap your opponent's back checkers. So that would look something like this. You build a prime like this. I'm stuck behind your 5 prime, then you escape your back checkers very easily, and you just bring your checkers home, and no matter what, I can't really liberate myself. And not until you finally get all of your checkers around and you start breaking your prime, okay, now I have a chance of start running, but I'm already too far behind, because for these 2 guys to get all the way around, while you're already beginning your bear off, I'm not going to be able to catch up, even if all of my checkers are in my home board. So priming basically neutralizes the race. It just traps your opponent until the end of the game, and it's going to be too late for him to catch up in the race, unless I get super lucky and roll double 6s and stuff like that, right? If I had to name one game plan that I think is the best, I would probably say priming. That's such a robust game plan. Next up, we have blitzing. So what does that mean? Let's show by example. Let's say I open with a 5-2. I split with a 2 and I bring the 5 down. Now you roll a double 5. How to play double 5? Well, double 5 kind of eliminate all your priming moves, right? So because we're going to attack here, and it's going to be very difficult to build a prime now because you're already too front loaded. You have gaps. If you bring these 2 down, you don't really have any builders coming from behind. You're very advanced, but that's not a bad thing. It's you're ahead in the race, and actually there's a better move here, namely the blitz attacking move when you make the ace point. Here we go. This is the best play with double 5. We almost always make this type of move with double 5 early in the game, where we hit on the ace point and then make the 3 point. And we call it the blitz attack. After rolling double 5 and making this move, you basically eliminated the priming game plan from your potential. Like, it's impossible actually to make a prime formation here after making the ace point. But that's okay. You're still winning here. You have much better equity than I have in this position, because you win a lot of gammons with the blitz attack and you're ahead in the race. So even if the blitz attack fails, if I roll, let's say, I roll 4-2, and then next time I roll a 2, and now I establish an anchor, I survive the blitz attack. Well, all you have to do is run, and then you can still win by racing. So it's not a bad thing to go for the blitz attack. It's a good thing. The only downside is that you give up all potential of building a prime. And then you just have to play accordingly. The blitz attack, though, is not very good if you are behind in the race. Because imagine if the blitz attack fails. Now you have to win the position while being behind in the race and unable to trap your opponent behind a prime. So that's the risk of going for a blitz attack. It's higher risk and higher reward because you win a lot of gammons this way. If you can finish the closeout quick, then you can win a gammon. By the way, after I start coming in, let's say I come in with one guy, and you roll a 5-3. How to play 5-3? Well, you continue the blitz attack. You hit loose with a 3, great, and then you bring an extra builder down. You're going for the closeout, and it's actually quite likely that you'll get the closeout at this point. Remember, I'm a big underdog to hit that one. I only hit it 11 out of 36 times. I could also hit with double 4 actually. So let's say 12 hitting numbers here out of 36, only a third of the time. If I don't, you continue the closeout and finish me off. So we have the priming game plan, we have the blitzing game plan. What else? Then we have the racing game plan. We already mentioned it here in the blitz attack. The racing game plan is simple. Actually, let's go back to the starting position. And let's say you open with a 6-5. Well, you don't develop any prime. You don't go for any blitz attack. You just run with 6-5. And now you're ahead 11 pips in the race. So here, this is a good, it improves your racing game plan a lot. And if you could do it again, even better. Now you just have to bring your checkers home without getting hit, and most likely you will win in the race. So that's the simplest game plan. If you're just counting on the race, you're typically not going to make it. You have to make improvements in your overall development. It's just that when you are ahead in the race, you just favor more the racing moves than when you're behind in the race. Then you don't favor racing moves, then you go for priming moves. And the fourth and final game plan is when all your offensive game plans of priming, blitzing, and racing, when they fail, well, as long as there's a single point of contact, you still have a chance to win. It's actually one of the beautiful things about backgammon, is that you're in the game until the end. It makes the game fun and exciting, unlike other games where an early advantage just is a certain win. It just takes 2 hours to finish the game, right? In backgammon, the excitement is there until the end. So let's say we have a position where I've fully escaped. Perhaps I have something like this, but you still sit tight on the anchor here. This game is not over. I'm leading, yes, because I have full freedom, I have a good prime, but you still have a chance. Perhaps you have around 20% chance or something in this position. Not bad, right? From a position where everything else failed. So that's the 4 game plans. We have 3 offensive ones, and then we have a defensive one, namely contact, where you play to hit a turnaround shot. Now, why is this important to know what your game plan is? Well, I would say this is probably the most important rule in all of backgammon. You need to make moves that fits to the game plan where you are strong and your opponent is weak, not the other way around. So if you have a strong prime potential, you should make moves according to the priming game plan. If you are behind in the race, you should make moves according to the priming game plan, because you're not going to win the race and you're not going to have a successful blitz attack when you're behind in the race. If you're ahead in the race, then you should make racing moves. And if a potential blitz attack occurs, you can take it. Go for it. You can go for the blitz attack if the opportunity arises, if you are ahead in the race. But not so much if you're behind in the race. It's really rare that we go for a full-on blitz attack while being behind in the race. Blitzing is something we do when we're ahead in the race. So you can see there's a connection here between priming and contact. They go hand in hand. And racing and blitzing, they go hand in hand. Let's take a look at some examples of that. So here we have a position where both players' game plan is kind of defined. Earlier in the game, we're trying to keep our options open and maximize across all game plans until the dice leads us in one direction. Remember, you don't choose your own game plan. The checkers and the dice tells you which game plan is appropriate. So let's have a look at this position here. You've established the 5 point. You have a lot of builders up here on the midpoint. You are behind in the race. I have established my 3 point. I already brought in checkers to my zone here. I'm a little bit front loaded. I have 10 men in the zone. We call the zone, that's basically my front position. That's the zone. I have 10 men in the zone. You only have 8 men in your zone. So I'm clearly ahead in the race. So the game plans from my point of view is more towards racing and blitzing. This is a blitz formation. I can see that visually because I have gaps, I have stacks, I'm lacking builders that can come from behind, I'm impure, but I have a good chance of closing you out if you're stupid enough to open yourself up like this, open up your anchor. Then I'm going to attack you, and there's a reasonable chance that I might close you out with all of this ammunition, all this material in the zone. 10 men in the zone makes for a strong blitz. 9 men, not so much. 8 men, forget about it. It's a weak blitz with 8 men in the zone. You, on the other hand, have a very beautiful priming formation here. It's pure because you only have 1 gap. You're utilizing your checkers in your front position well. It's just 2 spare checkers. And then you have a great supply of builders here on the midpoint that can come from behind and fill out the gaps in your prime, which makes it very likely that you can construct a solid and pure prime over here, where it's very difficult for me to do that because I already move my checkers in too fast. I can't move backwards. So it's going to be very difficult for me to make a prime. Given the fact that you're behind in the race and you have a prime formation, your game plan is priming and contact. My game plan is blitzing and racing. So let's say you roll a 3-2. How should you play? Should you go for a racing move like this? No. You're not going to win in a race, and now you just opened yourself up to get blitz attacked. So that's another rule, is that we don't want to split an anchor when we're facing a blitz formation. It's dangerous. The best play with 3-2 is just to aim for a prime, play flexible, play pure. This is the right play. We're aiming for the 4 point and the 7 point. Right? We want to play pure, and if we manage to close the prime, and I would have moved something in the meantime, the fact that you're behind in the pip count, behind in the race, is actually an advantage if you manage to trap me behind a prime. Because that means I'm going to crunch. And the moment I start crunching my front position, I lose the game. So the only time in backgammon where it is an advantage to be behind in the race is exactly when you have a priming formation and you're trapping your opponent behind a prime. Then it's actually good to be behind in the race, because that means you can hold your position longer. You have better timing, we say. Whoever is ahead in the race has worse timing. That's the pull and push between race and timing. Now let's say that I was the one who rolled 3-2. How should I play it? Should I go for a pure priming move? I don't know how that would look. Maybe it would be something like 3 and 2. This would be very pure, aiming for a prime. No, I should definitely split my back checkers. It's mandatory. I'm not worried about getting blitzed attacked and closed out. You only have 8 men in the zone. You don't have enough ammunition. It's going to take too long for you to make the closeout. You have to bring checkers into the zone, and then I'm going to survive the blitz easily. What I'm worried about is getting trapped behind a prime. So therefore, we have this rule with regards to the back checkers, that you split your back checkers if you're facing a prime formation, and you stay on the anchor. Don't split if you're facing a blitz formation, like I have here. So if I roll 3-2, I'm definitely going to play the 3 there. And now with the 2, I could do this, which is a builder, but I'm also stripping the midpoint and giving you a 6-4 to hit. So I'm just going to do this. This is the best play. I'm racing, right? Remember that. I'm fighting for freedom and racing, so I want to get out of there. So this is the best play. So you see, we're using our strategic knowledge here to figure out which type of move that we should be making. I should be making racing and blitzing moves. I don't have any blitzing moves because you're not split with the back anchor. You have an anchor over here, so you're not open. You have a closed position. So I can't blitz, so I should just be racing. If you were like this, and I rolled 3-2, I can now go for the blitz attack. 3, 2, and 3. Double hit. Go for the closeout. I have enough men in the zone. It's likely that I can make a closeout with 10 men in the zone. So it's really important to understand who is ahead in the race and who's behind, and who has the blitzing formation, who has the priming formation. And then move accordingly. You make moves according to the game plan where you are strong and your opponent is weak, not the other way around. And to quote Super Grandmaster Mochy, you don't choose your game plan. The board state determines what game plan you should play.